In this video, we're going to navigate user to a protected page or to our main page right after user successfully signs in. And we will also remember the sign in state so that when user starts mobile application next time, they don't need to sign in again if they already signed in, unless they sign out explicitly before. Okay, so let's open a sign in page in our assistant editor and find this function when sign in button tapped. Here it is, sign in button tapped. We perform some business logic. First of all, we read username and user email and password, and then we perform login, and if or sign in, and when sign in is successful, we get from parse a user object, and then we say if user is not nil, then we can do something like remember user login state and then take user to a protected page since they have successfully logged in. Okay, so to remember sign in state of the user, we need to remember something about the user, and usually it is user ID or username that we need to remember so that we can use it later in our request. For example, we want to send an HTTP request to a server to request more information about this user, and in this case we will pass to a server side something about our user, something that identifies our user, and again usually it's object ID or it is username that we can use in our SQL queries then. So let's create a variable. Let's first check. So if we refer to user object, and yes, we can use we can read username, for example, and username is going to be of a string type. So I will create optional let user name value, and that's going to be string. Let me actually call it like this: username. Let username equals user, and that's going to be optional as well. Username. Okay, so we read username, and now we need to store it in user defaults. So I'll go to ns user defaults, standard user defaults, set object, and I will set I will need to provide a value which is username, and for key I will come up with this username key, and the key is what we are going to use later to read this value from ns user defaults. Once we set object into user defaults, we can then access this value using this key from any view controller in our in our mobile application, from sign in or from any other pages. So this is very convenient to pass information around, and the value you store in user defaults will persist there even if mobile application restarts, for example, or even a mobile device is restarted. And when mobile app starts again, the value you put in ns user defaults will still be there. It will though disappear if user uninstalls application. So if they delete your application and download the new copy, then you will lose all data that you store in user defaults. But for the login, for remembering the login state, it's a very good storage place. Okay, and once you put something in user defaults, you should not forget to synchronize. Okay, so now we remembered something about the user. We remembered username, and we can take user to a protected page. So let's close this view controller, go to protected page, and let's check what is the which custom class is associated with it. Oh, we don't have any custom class associated with this main page, and we don't have any storyboard ID. So first of all, let's create a new custom class for our main page. A new file, and this is going to be iOS Kakao Touch class, subclass of view controller, correct, and we will call it main page view controller. Swift, okay, next. Create. Okay, custom class is created. I'm going back to our main storyboard, and I will select view controller under custom class. Here in identity inspector, I will type main page view controller, and I will also copy this value and specify, use the same value for storyboard ID. Okay, so now we know that storyboard ID is main page view controller, and we can go back to our sign in, open it in Assistant Editor, and now we can instantiate this view controller. Okay, so before we actually instantiate view controller, we need a reference to the main storyboard. So let's create one. Main storyboard equal of type UI storyboard equals UI storyboard. Oh, okay, we know it's name. We have a name, it's called main, and bundle new. Main is because our storyboard it's called main. Here's the name, main storyboard. Okay, now when we have reference to storyboard, we can instantiate a new view controller from it with the type main page view controller. So I will create a new variable, for example, variable main page of type main page view controller equals, and then I will refer to my main storyboard, and I will call instantiate view controller with identifier, and I remember that my identifier was the same as view controller name, like this, and I think it wants us to downcast it. Okay, so this identifier, remember, comes from this identifier that we've specified. So if I select main page again, this is the storyboard ID, identity, under identity inspector, storyboard ID, we use this identifier. Okay, let's go back to our sign in. Okay, so now we have a view controller that we want to navigate, and in this case we need to not, if we push, then user will be able to tap back button and then go back to sign in page. We want to replace our sign in page with a new page. So, and the way I do it is I access the window object, and then from the window object I access root view controller, and then I replace that view controller with the one that I have. So, and the way I access window object is through app delegate. So I will create a new variable, and I'll call it app delegate of type app delegate, and then I will access app delegate through UI application, shared application, delegate, and that's going to be as app delegate. Okay, and now when I have app delegate, I can access its window, object, and I can access its root view controller. And I can set this view controller to my main page. Right, but I think what I'm missing here, I think yes, let's do. I need to, before I do that, I need to wrap main page into navigation controller. So I'll quickly create main page nav navigation equals UI navigation controller. Oh, come on. Okay, with the root view root. Okay, view controller, and our root view controller is going to be main. Okay, now we have a view controller, and then we've wrapped this view controller into navigation controller, and now I set the app delegate. I set our window roots view controller with this new page, and we of course remembered the user state. So let me add some comments. Remember the sign in state, and now here I will say navigate to protected page. Let's build it, see if we have errors. No, everything is okay. So let's run this example and see how it works. Okay, so if I tap on sign in button, it doesn't let me in, but if I provide my correct username and correct password and tap on sign in button, it lets me in to my main page, and I'm pretty sure that our username is recorded as well, but we can debug it and see. But we got a warning message. What is it? Attempt to present alert UI alert controller on view controller whose view is not in the window hierarchy anymore. Oh, I see. And this happens because we are trying to present alert message, and I think I remember where here we go. This is our function. So if user is not nil, before we were displaying welcome message, but now we are taking user to a protected page, but the code below here, this one is trying to present an alert message. So I will take this and I'll paste it, I'll take it into else statement, because we want to present an alert message now only if user login is not successful. But if it is successful, we want to take user to a protected page. So let's debug it. I will put a breakpoint here and stop my application, run it again. And I will type my email address again, correct password, sign in. Okay, let me close this Windows and debug it line by line. 1, 2. Okay, user is not nil. Let's see what we get for username. Username is correct, which is my email address. And then we store our email address into user defaults. And then we access storyboard, create instantiate view controller, and then navigate to a protected page. Very good. So now we are in and we do not have any warning message. So if I stop this application and run it again, and try providing incorrect username and password, something like blah, 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 blah. I should get an alert message, invalid login parameters. Okay, so everything is working well. Invalid login parameters came from this else statement. We got error message and we read localized description, and then we created alert and presented this alert message to a user. Okay, so now when we remembered user state, I mean, at the time of sign in, we remembered user name. We can check at the time when mobile application starts, we can check whether the user is signed in or not. And if yes, we can take them directly to our protected page. So I will copy this code and I will go to app delegate. And in app delegate, I am looking for a function which is called did finish launching with option. And I will paste this code here. And we used NS user defaults to store a username. So now I will use user defaults to read this username. Okay, and I will look for string for key, and our key is called username, and I will store this into a new variable, for example, username of type string, right? Oops, of type string. Okay, and all I need to do now, I need to check if username is empty or not. I mean, if username is null, so I'll say if username is not equal to nil, then I assume user is logged in and I can take them to protected page right away. Else, if username is null, initial view controller will be triggered. So let's put a breakpoint here and debug our application. Okay, application starts. Username is Sergey Terslandy, so it's not nil, and it will go in and we will instantiate view controller and go directly to main page, right? So it is working now. But we will run into a situation that every time when we start mobile application, it will always go to protected page. I'll show you. If I start mobile app again, it will go to a protected page, main page. And if I stop it and I will run it again, it will go to main page again. And this is happening because we have a value in NS user defaults, which is user ID, and every time mobile application starts and did finish launching with options, we check for it. And it will be happening until we perform a user logout and remove this value from our user defaults, so that username is nil, and it skips this block of code and starts with the initial view controller, which is in our case sign in page. So I think this is it for this video, and in the next video let's work on logout page and remove the value from NS user defaults.